But it was nice to be out there today.
Beautiful day.
Good evening and welcome to the October 19th, 2010 San Bruno Planning Commission meeting. Roll call, Aaron, please.
Commissioner Samut.
Here.
Commissioner Marshall.
Here.
Vice Chair Peterson.
Here.
Chair Chase.
Here.
Commissioner Biasotti.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
And Commissioner Mishra.
Here.
All right. Let's see. Commissioner Mishra, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Well, let's see, why don't we go with, start off with, we have some minutes from the August 17th, 2010 meeting that we need to have a motion and some action on.
Through the chair. Yeah, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, those opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Next item, communications.
Just the normal that the whole e-packet is available online at sanbruno.ca.gov, and you can find the agenda as well as the staff report there.
Great, thank you. Next item would be public comment on items that are not on the agenda. Is there anybody here wishing to speak on any such item that might be out there? Seeing none, I'm going to close that. Any announcements of conflict of interest here on the commissioners on our items? No? Okay. You know what I'd like to just do, if we could, if I was going to do this a little bit earlier, but if we could just have like one moment of silence just for, you know, the victims and the families of, you know, the tragedy that we all know about. So if we could just take a second just to kind of. Thank you. Okay. Well, let's start off with public hearings. This is 300 Piedmont Avenue. This is an environmental, what do we got here? I'm sorry, excuse me. This is a request for a use permit to allow a personal training studio at a surplus school building per section 1284.080.b of the San Bruno Municipal Code. Staff report, please.
Thank you and good evening, Planning Commissioners. The application before you is for a personal training studio at the former Crestmore High School site. The municipal code specifically permits some uses and lists other uses as conditional at surplus school sites. So this project requires a use permit because it's a recreational type of use. The owner was not originally aware of this requirement when they entered into the lease, so they have been operating there. But as soon as they became aware of the requirement, they have been working diligently with staff to take the application forward. The business proposes to have one-on-one as well as small group training, and they say that will be up to 5 people, and it is a relatively small space at about 800 square feet in total, including the office. So it is a small facility and would include small groups in the one-on-one training. Their proposed hours are in the morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., in the evening on weekdays again from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., and on Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so as you can see, that really is kind of the opposite hours of some of the typical hours that location is used for, and so complement the other uses that are there. They have 2 owners, which are also the trainers, and they're here before you this evening. If you have any questions for them, they do not have any other employees. As you are aware, the Peninsula High School, the continuation high school, is the primary use at this site. Since it was a high school until 1980, there is quite a bit of surplus parking. There are a couple of other small businesses and community serving organizations there, but there's really quite a bit of space available for additional small uses. This use is located or proposed to be kind of where the circular driveway is that's shown in the map that's provided to you with your staff report. And so it's on the 2nd floor of what had been historically used as a classroom building with an outside entrance to get to that location. So staff finds that the personal training studio should not have any negative impacts on the neighborhood. Given its small size and kind of remote location, we don't anticipate any noise or traffic or detrimental effects. Also, just inherently, a personal training studio has some good for the community in terms of the health aspects of it and providing more recreational opportunities for the community. As you know, the fields are there at the school, and so those are important recreational resource for the community. We did notify neighbors with the regular legal notice. We received one email of support. They actually had a couple of recommendations. That's included as an attachment to your staff report this evening. So staff recommends approval of use permit 10-022 based on the findings of fact and subject to the conditions of approval in your staff report. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions of staff? Seeing none. Thank you. As the applicant, obviously, you guys are here. Mind stepping to the microphone and give us just a brief description, if you will, of what you're going to be doing?
My name is Gary Tanaka, co-owner of the Fitness Tech. We do, basically what Laura said, personal training, small group training for just all fitness levels.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions of the applicant?
Through the chair.
I'm
See
sorry.
that you're applying for, I'm sorry, I have a little bit of laryngitis, so bear with me.
It's okay.
You're applying for specific hours. Are you only going to limit your business to those hours? What if you had a great interest of the community in wanting to have a different set of hours?
Oh, those are our usual group training hours. Our one-on-one training is by appointment. So,
Okay. So my point of bringing it up, being a business owner myself in the community, is that when you apply, it doesn't mean that you can't come back to reapply for different hours. But I certainly, see that you're by appointment, but you're going to limit yourself to these hours if you you can consider opening from 6 in the morning till your evening hours. And so I just wanted to just get your feedback on that. If you're very clear that that's all you want, that's one thing, but you're not limited to those hours if you had a desire to expand those hours.
that's. I think that's what we're doing in the future too. So,
Through the chair.
Commissioner Peterson?
You said you may make some private one-on-one sessions for exercise. What time would you do those?
those are like the afternoon hours. The afternoon that they aren't.
So that
listed
would
on-
be 12:01 p.m. to 5 p.m.?
Yes, correct.
So would you want to amend your permit to reflect that, your description to reflect that?
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions of the applicant?
Yeah, through the chair.
Go ahead.
I see that your target market is mostly, it looks like 25 to 45-year-old females. What about short, fat old guys like me?
Well, that's what we have right now, but we cater to all different individuals and all fitness levels, so we'll take anyone.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
I think you need an operation to get to the other part of that. Okay, all right. Any other questions of staff, of the applicant? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody from the public wishing to comment on this particular item?
Through the chair,
Commissioner Peterson?
move we close the public hearing.
Public hearing is closed.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Commissioner Marshall.
With Marshall. I move we approve use permit 1022 based on finding fact 1 through 3, approval 1 through 5.
Second.
Could
Motion and a second.
I suggest to the motion maker that he incorporate the
And your
hours,
new app, yeah, and with the new hours.
12:01 p.m. to 5 p.m. for individual lessons?
So
Motion
moved.
made. Okay, do you second on that one? Okay, we have a motion and a second with the changes as well. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, seeing none, it passes. Congratulations. There's a 10-day appeal period, and good luck. Okay, next item on our agenda, city staff discussion. Aaron, anything going on?
First, we will go, the easier item is just selection of the November Architecture Review Committee members, Commissioner Marshall, Commissioner Peterson, and Commissioner Biasotti. Perfect. Just to let you know, we're going to get a date. It actually falls on Veterans Day, so City Hall will not be open that day. So we're going to get an alternative date, and we'll inform you as well as post the new date on the website. Then the next item on the discussion is, I just wanted to update everyone. I'm sure everyone's aware of a lot of the details that are associated with the Glenview fire. From a structural standpoint, 35 homes were completely destroyed and have been removed. The county's finished the removal process of those. About another 20 have been significantly damaged. Some of those in the end probably are going to have to be torn down and rebuilt. And over 30 to 40 other homes were damaged, and the damage could even be more widespread as we take a look at these and start to see some of the longer term effects. But what we wanted to do is create a process for those who want to rebuild quickly to be able to rebuild quickly. So last Tuesday night, planning staff and I took a item up to the City Council for an expedited planning process, and the City Council did give direction on that process. And the short summary of it is that everything that would be typically approved by the Planning Commission will now be able to be approved by the Architectural Review Committee. What I'm going to ask of you as Planning Commissioners is to be available more often for Architectural Review Committee meetings, so when the families are ready to rebuild, that we have weekly meetings if necessary, rather than monthly meetings. That way we could get them built quickly. So homeowners are going to basically fall into one of two groups. They're going to fall in the first group. It's going to be a one-step process, and that's for everyone who wants to propose as a home that's below the threshold. So, on a typical 5,000 square foot lot, a 0.55 floor area ratio would allow you to build up to 2,750 square feet. So for everyone that's below those thresholds, they won't even have to, by our code, how our code exists now, they won't even have to go to the Architectural Review Committee meeting. They will fortunately have to meet the residential design guidelines because we adopted that ordinance recently. So that will all be processed during the building permit review. Planners will comment on it, make architectural comments at the same time as the structural comments. For those that do want to exceed a threshold, and I assume that probably maybe a third, a half of them will, those are the ones that will come up to the Architectural Review Committee for approval. And that will be the first step, and once they're approved by the Architectural Review Committee, they'll move on to step 2, which is the structural review by the building division. So you most likely will have a item coming up to you very soon to make those ordinance changes. It'll be done in an overlay zone fashion, and what an overlay zone does, it allows a zoning ordinance to only affect certain parcels. So those parcels that have been impacted by the Glenview fire will be eligible for this new expedited process. So I could take any questions about the Glenview fire in general or this process.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Pearson.
Having looked at the area, it's very open. It's just like an open field now. And what that suggests, I'm thinking of the construction process in particular, is that the ordinance, the overlay zone, you have something in there about getting some landscaping in as part of the initial construction, not we'll get around to it or something, because it could look pretty good pretty fast or take forever, and landscaping can make a night and day difference on it.
Yeah, and we're also coordinating not only on the private properties, but to also get some of the street trees put in sooner than later, so that you get some light back along the street as well.
And for that matter, there's a lot of curb and sidewalk that's junk.
Yeah.
So if you could put that in sooner, I think it would, and maybe even, I know there's some streets that need repaving simply because they're not even there, but
Yeah.
that could make the neighborhood look a lot more attractive to people, because I see some comments in the news that some people are concerned about not rebuilding. And I think that's a shame, because it hurts the people who do want to rebuild.
Absolutely.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Marshall.
Aaron, was there talk about construction traffic? If we have 20 homes getting constructed, it's probably going to be 15, 20 different contractors. And
Yeah.
like for parking permits on the people who are living up there, that aren't, they're all affected, but that aren't affected with construction-wise, are we going to put stipulations in regular,
I think I honestly haven't put a lot of thought into it yet, but I think one thing is, designating a haul route is always important so that you get traffic moving in one direction. And we have some experience with that in that area now, just because they've already removed, the truckers removed all the debris from the 35 home, which was a pretty intense process that they got taken care of in 3 weeks. So we'll build upon that. But yeah, we have to remember that, there are 377 homes evacuated, and the 35 to 55 homes that will be rebuilding, you still have a neighborhood around it, so you do have to be sympathetic to them as well.
Any other questions?
Yeah, through the chair, a couple of thoughts. These new homes will be held to the new California green standards, is that correct?
They will. It depends when they submit their building permit. If they submit for their building permit after January 1st, then yes, they will be subject to the new California building code. If they submit for their building permit this year, they'll be subject to the previous or the current building code. But whatever we can do to encourage people to put in sustainable measures into their home, we will.
Okay, thank you.
And I assume actually most of the homes, probably just the way time it will take to prepare plans on their architect, insurance, all those things lining up, I assume that there will be a lot of homes that are proposed after January 1st.
Very good. Any other questions?
Through the
I
chair.
see 'em. I'm sorry, go ahead.
A couple things. There was some discussion about testing the soil there. Is there any update on that? And then also, I'll just give you all my questions and you can address them. And then today there was a meeting where Jackie Spear spoke, and she mentioned about PG&E doing buyouts. And I don't know if you have any comments on that, Aaron.
Sure.
And I think the other questions have been answered, already been asked.
The first one, testing the soil. Right now, there's a geotech report that's going to be done both for long and short-term measures within the canyon area, and that's already being conducted. For the individual homes, as part of the building permit process, there will be geotech reports required, as well as surveys. I mean, when you go out there, you really don't know where the survey lines are. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to take a look at all of those as we go along. And there's some of the homes that are built on partial fill that are closer to the canyon. There's some homes that are on more stable grounds, but you still had old foundations there, so there's still going to be some stability issues on the individual lots. You also had some homes between Claremont and Earl that had large slopes between them with a lot of trees that were burnt. So some of those trees had been removed, but the stumps still remained for slope stability reasons. But there's a lot of variables that are going to go into this process. So, while we want to do it expeditiously and we're going to concentrate resources so we can do it quickly, we're still going to have to go through all the normal reviews. Even more important in a lot of cases to go through all the normal reviews to make sure they're built safely.
And is driving still limited where it's not open to public yet? Or people are able
Correct.
to access from San Bruno to Sneath Lane, or it's still being protected?
There's a certain area. The area is getting smaller as the debris removal is finished, as the trees are being cut down, but there's still going to be an area most likely surrounding, there's still a hole in the ground there, so surrounding that area there's still going to be restricted access. Regarding the PG&E buyout, I don't know all the details. I just saw the packet that PG&E was distributing, but yes, they've distributed a packet to all the homeowners who've lost their home, as well as other homeowners in the area, about a buyout program for people who do not wish to build. They also have a program that they put together in the same packet that gives people incentives to build quickly. So we have a copy of that packet down at City Hall if anyone would like to see it.
I also want to comment that today at the meeting when Jackie Spear was speaking, or Senator Spear, she indicated that what really brought it home to her why she does this work was the community of San Bruno and the way it was handled, the way people came together, the way other communities came from Pacifica and just small organizations coming together. And she said it really brought to light why she serves in this community. And it wasn't a political stance that she was taking today at all. It really was just, she really resonated and just was passionate about that. And whatever she can do, I mean, she continues to advocate and do whatever she possibly can. It was just amazing today. It was quite heartfelt that there's a huge group of people at a meeting today.
Yeah, it was great to see. I mean, staff obviously was there right from the beginning, and just to see how many people came out to help in that initial period, as well as, it's very intense for those first 48 hours especially, and the first week, and just how much help we had from residents in San Bruno, from workers in other cities, from firefighters, from policemen from other cities that were there to secure the site. So it was good to see Congresswoman Spears. She was there from the first day on there helping residents, and so it was really good to see people step up.
Okay, any other questions before I ask City Council Member Medina to address us, if you would?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very quickly, since I'm here as your liaison for the remainder of this year, I wanted to thank you, obviously, for the work that you do. Obviously, you volunteer your services and your time, and I know it sometimes is demanding to try to balance life and also what you're giving to the community. But also, I want to thank you in advance because obviously we're going to ask you to meet more often with ARC Review and what have you as we do the rebuilding process. And as Commissioner Johnson said, it did test the resolve of our community. These challenging and disastrous times that we experienced back in September really test the will of a community and the courage of the residents. Our staff here, planning and the community development department, have done a great job in addition to every staff member that works for the city of San Bruno. We even had former employees of the department that came back and worked. It was amazing to see some of the faces coming back. Those that retired came back and helped out for free. It was an amazing testament to our community and to the residents of it. And if you certainly weren't proud of this town, you became proud. And if you already were proud, it just elevated it that much more. But obviously, there's going to be a little more work here at this level, and we want to thank you in advance of that. But also during this rebuilding process, your participation, I think, and assistance in this is going to be important, and I think we need it. This is unprecedented times that we're facing and rebuilding of these lots down in the Glenview area. So again, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for, I hope, what we will be doing together to help bring this city back and during our rebuilding process in the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I do believe at this time, unless any commissioners have any other final comments.
Yeah,
Commissioner
through the chair.
Lusardi, sure.
Aaron, just for the record, I'll make myself available for those meetings as needed or on a weekly basis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
You can put me down. I can't say I can make every one of them, but I'll do what I can.
Great. Well, what I will do is, for the people that could be there the most often, I'll contact, and if we need to fill other people, I'll just give everyone a call and see who can fill in.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you very much. Great meeting. It is adjourned.